hello. Hey, everybody. I know it's been a minute since we've had our show, It's Life, but I'm so glad. Hit like, hit share. Welcome to It's Life, where we'll live, inspire. We're going to have some fun, and we're going to empower you on this journey called life. I have a few guests, technical difficulties happening, but nevertheless, we're going to power through it. I have a very, very, very special guest on here today. We're going to be talking about changing, life changing. I know I've experienced it. I had a few of my girlfriends who were going to come on along this ride with me because we're all experiencing it together. If you have a sister girlfriend who's 45, hitting that 50 mark or 48, and things are starting to change and we don't know what's actually going on. If you have a girlfriend, a wife, a significant other, and you're like, she acting a little different. You may want to tune in today so you can understand what we are going through. Because sometimes we don't even know ourselves. It's just a lot of things that are changing. Our bodies are changing. Our attitudes are changing. And adjusting to this change is sometimes kind of difficult for us. I know I'll speak for myself. I'm 48. I know I don't look 25, right? But I'm 48, and I recognize that I have grown children, but the thought that if I wanted to have another baby or another child, it may not be in the cards for me right now. And to sit with that, and just even the idea of I may not want to, but the fact that I can't, or something that I cannot do, is something that some women go through as well. It's that, and also your body is changing. Things are not bouncing back as it was before, and dealing with those things and recognizing some things that are changing with your body and not knowing what it is or where I can get relief. I have different girlfriends who are a little older than me who have reached the 50 mark, and they are experiencing the menopause. The menopause, that thing, right? That thing that we have, this menopause. But I think the term, and we have someone here who can possibly help us get through that, because it's something that when you're younger is something that's embedded in us as being a terrible thing, or a thing that is dreaded. And when it comes on, and not embracing it as something that is another season in our lives, but it's always that dreaded menopause. So I'm not going to belay anything. I have some other people coming in that were so excited about this topic because they are experiencing it. So I'm going to introduce her today. I'm so excited for my friend whose name is Robin, who reached out to Dr. Deborah, and she was so gracious to come on and to share with us this evening. I'll just give a little brief introduction of Dr. Deborah. She's the founder and CEO of Going Through the Change, a global health and wellness company that focuses on helping women of all generations navigating premenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. And I read in the bio that she keeps it real. So we're going to have, this is a real discussion, and she's going to keep it real with us. And she is known as the menopause whisperer. Her, if you want to reach out to Dr. Deborah, she is on Facebook. And is it Going Through the Change Is
Yes,
that your?
yes, but the thing is THRU, through the change.
Ah, thank you. So going through the change, THRU,
Right.
going through the change. Thank
Yeah.
you for that. Well,
Okay.
welcome,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Deborah. I'm so glad that you're here.
Well, thank you. And as you said, keeping it real, as you can tell in the background, this is real, real. But it is always a privilege to talk to women. I have been in the healthcare arena since 1972.
Mm,
72, let's say 76, when I got my RN and my bachelor's of science in
wow.
nursing. And
Yeah.
so my area has always been women and children's health. And I have been concerned about women. And be honest with you, as a nurse, but also as administrator for women and children's health for the city of Philadelphia for 24 years, I managed women and children's services. And during that time, menopause was never mentioned.
Wow.
Never. And when I'm talking to women, I said, I remember when I was 9, 10, 11 years old, they talk about, oh, you're going to get your period, and
Yeah.
all this stuff was going to happen. Oh, you're going to have a baby. And then silence.
Yeah.
The topic was not addressed.
Yeah.
And so what happened to me is that I did not get married until I was 40. For 6, 7 years, I did fertility workup trying to have a baby.
Mm,
I was having all these signs and symptoms. And one thing I want to be clear about, even at 46, trying to go through fertility work, I said to my fertility specialist doctor, well, my brain feels foggy. I
yeah.
can't remember things. And I said, no, what should I do? She said, girl, I have the same problem.
Wow.
Well, here I'm trying to get pregnant, got a foggy brain. You were top in the city, and you're telling me you got the same problem. So
Right.
that made it real to me that the issue has not been addressed, and especially for women who are in corporate situation. I manage an $18 million a year budget. I had so many staff, I stopped counting people. But I
Wow.
still had those issues that nobody was talking about. And so I had to start asking people, especially
Mhm.
women who are older, what am
Yeah.
I going to do about this brain? How am I going to remember everything? And I want women to know, if anything, menopause really means no period. That,
Mm.
that's the technical word. But menopause, the process, is a phase before your period becomes irregular, peri, when you start noticing your period becomes irregular,
Mm-hmm.
menopause, 365 days when you have not had a period, and after that is postmenopause. Each
Mm.
one of those periods in a woman's life really is critical. When you talk about perimenopause and your period start acting crazy and all these other signs and symptoms come up, it could take as long as 10 years. See, people are making it sound like, bam, that's it.
Yeah.
No,
No. Mm-mm.
no, not at all. And I would say to women, let's talk about when you had started getting your period. Believe it or not, when I talk to women, when they tell me when they got their period and how they act and what happened, I said, now that's when the estrogen was going high.
Yeah.
Look at those same symptoms you were having, and when the estrogen is going down. What were
Mm-hmm.
you doing? What did you notice? How did you change? Tell me about how you respond to PMS. Well, in the middle of my period, all of a sudden I got hungry, I got irritable, I didn't feel like being bothered. I said, okay, then menopause signs and symptoms is that on steroids. There's over 34 signs and symptoms of menopause that women have never identified, and they go
Right.
going crazy.
Right. And I was just thinking back to my husband. If you let him tell it, I've been saying I've been going through menopause since I was in my 40s when I turned 40 because my mother said that she started early. So I was like, oh, it's it. This
Yeah,
every year, 40.
yeah.
but I started to get, I don't know if this is something that is even possible, but I think that it is. But I started getting, I would call them baby flashes, like
Yeah,
really hot, but it didn't last long like other.
it's like a glow. You're like,
Yeah, it's like hello, and then it's gone.
but remember, when I'm talking about menopause, is when your ovaries that had every on a cycle, every 28, 26, 32 days was increasing estrogen and
That's
increasing progesterone.
right. Okay.
Now, those millions of egg cells now are almost depleted.
Yeah.
So one time you might get something else, and then the estrogen goes down. Oh, maybe estrogen this cycle goes a little high, then it goes down. You
Hmm.
have to almost compare it with your cycle, but thinking that it's not stable. You can go through that process, like I said, for years. Some people are good. They go through that process. Oh, my
Right.
period came irregular, and that was it, and then it stopped.
So Dr. Deborah, what are some of the symptoms that are commonly known when you're
First,
going through these changes?
first irregular periods.
Okay.
When you start notice whatever your norm is, and you start noticing. Now, when I say irregular periods, it could be, oh, how many days? Like I was 28 days clockwork. Then all of a
Hmm.
sudden I was 32. And the next month I was 24. Okay,
Hmm.
because that's reflection of those ovaries producing hormones that are not stable. Next thing is you might say, oh, I usually go 7 days in a row, but this time it's only 2 days. The next month is maybe 5 days. The word irregular periods come into play. And so you really need to say, okay, remember back in the day, or well, you're young, but back in my day,
Deborah, I'm young. Okay, thank
yeah,
you.
but I could be your mother, okay? I'm the age to be your mom. But the thing is, back in the day, we used to carry calendars, and it was put out by Kotex Company. And
Oh.
so everybody used to always in their pocketbook had a calendar. And they would always check off. I had a full period, I had pain, then whatever. So we all knew when there were changes in our period. Nowadays, people don't carry those kind of calendars,
No.
but they do have apps. And that's
Yeah.
what I tell our mothers of girls. Start training your young ladies to identify when their periods are, identify if there's problems, how many days. They should know themselves like clockwork, because when things are changing, they will be able to identify it. They'll be able to share that information with their mothers, their family, the
Right.
doctors, or what have you. That's us as women. That
Yeah.
tells us how well we are doing. It's when
Yeah.
we start noticing those changes.
Yeah. But you know what? And that's something about us too that we don't take as much as good care of ourselves as we do other people. To
Ah,
really, yeah.
ah, you must have read my Instagram
Oh
today.
no.
My thing, I was saying, self care is not selfish, and we should
No.
not have guilt.
Yeah.
And the reason why we are socialized, our value is, oh, I'm so strong. I take care of everybody else. You know what we really have done? We have trained people not to care about us.
Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
when we get in menopause and we're acting crazy, we got this guilt because we're not doing what we used to do for everybody else, because
Mhm.
our needs are different. And that's the thing I want women to understand. Do not feel guilty for the process that is natural in our life. Back in the Bible times, when the women were in, the Jewish women were in the wilderness, they
Mhm.
had what they call a red tent. God had put out an edict. When a woman is on her period, She can be in that tent. She could relax. She could do whatever. She ain't had to wash. She ain't had to cook. She ain't had to do all those kind of things. You know what it was? It was her Sabbath.
Mm.
This day, this time, when do we have our Sabbath?
Yeah, we don't. We don't.
And then we
My,
wonder
my
what we
friend
do.
here, Stacy, she took her Sabbath. Stacy,
Absolutely.
she took her self care, and I'm so glad she did.
And I'm enjoying it. I enjoyed it to the utmost.
Yes. So Stacy, since you're here, Stacy is driving, but she's joining us nonetheless.
Hi.
Um,
Yes.
so what have you experienced? Have you noticed about yourself after moving past 45 and into the, I'm not gonna tell you your age, but being a little seasoned.
Well, listen, I embrace 48, almost 49.
Come on,
I
sis.
embrace it all, because after you have done and seen so many young people perish at a young age, it's a blessing to be every age that you get.
Yeah.
So I am grateful and I embrace it. So I'm good with what I am. But I will say this: things change at around about 46. I,
Mhm.
I, it was a huge wake up call for me.
Yeah.
Um, Things just did not operate according to the specs, you
Right.
know,
Right.
and that speaks to how I process things.
Mhm.
Just getting out the bed, just having mystery clean, and just not
Yeah.
really realizing what was happening. I mean, I chipped my ankle, and I don't ever remember falling.
Mm.
It's those types of things, and just realizing in a matter of a couple of hours was taking me all day. And
Yeah.
so at one point it became a little daunting, because I thought something was wrong with me. But I had to remember, and I cling to this, to my mother, God bless her soul. She said, listen,
Mhm.
listen to your body. Listen to your
Yeah.
body. And that's what I had to start doing. And it wasn't that something was wrong with me. I just had to make other modifications to give myself more time to get things
Yeah.
done, and to experience certain things. So I would say that as I got as I'm getting older, that was like the biggest wake up call, to space things out, and really understand that some things you just will not, I'm just not doing anymore. No is a
Yeah.
complete sentence. And it's not that I can't do it, it's just that I'm not doing it. I'm not going to waste that energy because I know I can preserve it for other places. But I
Yeah.
also will say this, as menopause, that's what I'm gonna call you, because she said that's her name.
Right.
As she eloquently began to speak about the irregularity of our cycles, I can definitely say that I have experienced that. I'm in that, and with me, it kind of happened in reverse, because I was 21 days, absolutely 21 days. There was no
Mm.
deviation from 21 days. And it seems like over the last 2 years, it's gone to 28 days,
Mhm.
sometimes 40 days, so it's become longer rather than shorter increments. And again, I thought something was wrong, but I had to embrace that irregularity is a part of growing, aging as a woman.
Can I ask?
It's a part of the woman process. And so I will state that, yeah, and the brain fog, I've experienced that as well, just not being able to remember the names. And I'm a linguist. I like words. I like, good words.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can't even think of the word that I want to say. But other than that, I will say that it is definitely something that I'm glad has been brought to the forefront, because it definitely needs to be discussed, and information definitely needs to be gained.
Yeah.
Can I
Thank
ask a
you, sis.
question to Pastor Stacy? Pastor Stacy, you said that you've gone from 28 to 40. And let me just say for myself, during that period of time, when I changed like that, I went to the GYN doctor. I found that I had not hemorrhoids, fibroids. I had fibroids, and because my uterus had started growing these fibroids, my
Mhm.
brain increased, and I found that I had 8 fibroids in my uterus, and that was one of the reasons why my bleeding increased, the amount of pain that I had increased. So I tell women, when you start noticing that irregularity, that there's not that sync that you had, please go in and get a thorough GYN exam, because now you need to establish a baseline. This is where I am. This is what I used to be. So when things are changing, because what happened with me, I wind up, they grew so much, it was as if I was 5 months pregnant. The fibroids got so heavy, it put pressure on my bladder, and they were concerned about injury to my kidneys. And I had to have a hysterectomy because it was either damage to my kidneys or get rid of this uterus. So, you know,
So that thank you, Dr. Deborah, for that. So what I'm hearing you saying is that when the irregular period is a drastic change, when you notice that it's going from, if you're regular 21 days, then go to 28 days. And if you go to, like Stacy was saying, 40 days, then you're like, maybe it's time at that point just to go and to get checked out, just to make sure that everything is going well, because that's kind of a real jump there.
That's a difference. And the thing is, as I said earlier, because you've kept your calendar, because you know what is your normal, then the doctor could better diagnose, or the nurse practitioner could better diagnose and determine what is going on with your body. Okay? So that is, and I'm gonna tell you something. I had a friend, we just talking. She told me, oh, I had my period at Christmas. I said, you had your period at Christmas? You 70-something years old. What you doing having a period at Christmas? I almost had a heart attack. I said, wait a minute, baby girl, we at the same time, you just telling me you diagnosed with breast cancer. And then you're telling me also about having a period. I said, we going to the doctors, and I'm going to doctors with you. Okay, because that's strictly, start having your period and now you're having it again. Something is going on. But because we are so busy taking care of everybody and everything, and a lot of my friends, my good friends, are in their 70s and 80s. I'm the baby, okay? And they be telling me all these different things. I said, oh, baby, we getting an appointment because something ain't right. And I'm going to tell you something, I have to say it this way, especially when they talk about examining their breasts. And they said, oh, well, Deborah, I'm not going to do anything. And I'm a breast cancer survivor. I said, oh, we go. And a lot of the times, they got cancer. I had a friend. She's like, oh, no. Found out she had uterine cancer. I'm not trying to scare people. But when you get things diagnosed early, when things are changing and they're not making sense, get to that doctor. And if the doctor prolongs, oh, I can't see you for 6 months, you know what I do? I said, don't you have a GYN nurse practitioner? And they say, yeah. I said, make the appointment with that person. I'm satisfied with that person better than trying to wait some 6 months. This is your life.
Yeah. And I think too that one of the reasons why I really wanted to have this conversation is because, again, a lot of my family and my sisters and sister friends are in their 50s or, a little older than that, and they have experienced the hot flashes and, the different things, and trying to find remedies to help subside those symptoms that they're having. So here I am having these little baby summers, so I'm like, okay, I see the things that they are going through, the things that they are experiencing. As I'm approaching that, I want to approach it in a way that I'm embracing it and not dreading it or looking at it as this thing that's just happening. I'm going to get it. It's going to happen, whether it's brief or it's a long period. It's happening. It's going to happen. We We can't skip it. We can't go around it. We're gonna get it. It's gonna happen. So I wanted to figure out, if there's certain foods or is there something that I can do um, to help this process be a little easier for me or others who are listening to go through this.
Let me just say this to you, and I know a lot of women they began to give me a pill. Let this be done with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, okay, let's be real. You're either going to have something that the doctor is going to prescribe, or you're going to have a non-prescription medication, or you're going to have something herbal or what have you, or and what I am my expertise is lifestyle change.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about hot flashes. When I talk to women about hot flashes, I said, okay, what triggers your hot flash?
Mm-hmm.
I work with them to determine. You know what some women tell me? I eat chocolate. I drink a lot of caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Usually somebody get on my nerves. You know, they're triggers
Yeah.
for those hot flashes. I said, okay, let's look at a lifestyle change. Okay, you know you're going to get hot flashes when this and this happens, especially night sweats. This I hear this all the time. So
Mm-hmm.
you go to bed at 10 o'clock at least 2 to 3 hours before that. You're not going to have caffeine, not going to eat chocolate. So that one of those things are the reason why you're having hot sweat. Now, if
Mm-hmm.
you say you want to go to the doctors and say, doctors, I want hormone treatments or what have you, then I tell you, go to the doctors, ask them to look at your history, ask them questions, ask them how long can I be on this? Because at a certain point, you're gonna come off. You're not gonna stay on this until you're 100. Okay, that's
Yeah,
not that's
I have a friend of mine who's getting injections.
okay. Listen,
Oh.
there are different options. And the question is, what does you and your doctor make the
Uh-huh.
decision on what's best for you?
That's for you. Yeah.
But I tell all women, if you're getting the sign and symptoms, track it. Because some
Mm-hmm.
of it could be just as simple as I know what to eat, what not to do, when to do it, what have you. Because in my practice, the issue is quality of life.
Yeah.
Many of the things when you have to change your lifestyle, it's not just changing your lifestyle, it's allowing you to have a better quality of life later on. We're
Mm-hmm.
going to, and the statistics are showing, we might live into at least 100 years old now. That's
Mm.
what we're looking at. Our young people, especially, they're looking to have a life. Listen, both of my parents are gone. I'm older than what my parents lived. Okay.
Mm.
And so here I am. I said, oh gosh, I'm going 70 years old. I don't feel like a granny on Beverly Hillbillies. Are you kidding me?
Right.
No. I started a business at 64. I got my doctorate at 64.
Come on.
Okay. So, and a lot of my friends who I have friends, they are showing statistically women who are becoming entrepreneurs are doing something who are menopausal.
Mm.
Most of the people who are workers, there's a large number of the worker are women who are between that perimenopause and postmenopause. We
Mm-hmm.
are a force to be reckoned with.
Yes. Come on.
Okay. And especially during COVID, who
Yeah.
was the one taking care of the children? Who was
Right.
the one taking care of the older people? Who was the one with the boss calling you up and down and all around where the younger people say, I ain't got time for that. Oh, yeah, I'll get this done. I'll get this done. Pastor need this and this and this and whatever. We are that very population that maintains everything around us. And I tell women, it's like we're sandwiched in, okay? We're in the middle and everybody is pulling at us. But an older friend of mine told me, you train people how to treat you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not saying go crazy on them and lay them all out at one time, but you gradually let them know You know what? And I tell people have a pocket of no's. Oh, girl, I understand you need this, but you know, I got this to do right now. Oh, talk to me later. Ooh, you got that? Tell me some of the ways you felt like you were going to handle that.
Right.
You want something from me? Let's put that on my calendar. Give me a day or so and I'll get back to you. Because this change is so valuable that will
Yeah.
determine how we live our next season in life. We
Mhm.
cannot afford to neglect ourselves. Bottom
Yeah.
line.
Yeah. That's good. That is good.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Absolutely. Stacy, you have anything to add to that?
There's nothing more to add. That was really like a drop the mic moment,
Right.
um, because that absolutely needs to be echoed. The fact that we are in the middle, that was powerful. How
Yeah.
we're pulled, and when others were at home, we really kept balance, and was the bridge to a lot of things that people was not willing to do. And not only did we do it, we did it well.
Right. And
Thank
still doing it. And
Yeah,
still.
thank you.
yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. And let me just say this to you ladies. I'm a widow also. Okay.
Mm.
And especially the fact that here you are I was trying to take care of my husband with prostate cancer. Okay.
Mm.
And the thing is, the doctors didn't recognize it. And because I'm a nurse and I went in there and had to show them why is his PSA this high.
Yeah.
In fact, he walked in there with stage 4 cancer.
Oh wow.
But right before then, he took care of both of his parents, and me and him took care of his parents. You know, after I took care of my husband for 2.5 years, right after that, I was diagnosed with cancer. No,
Wow.
no history in the family of that.
Wow.
Stress will
Stress.
take you out.
Say it again, Doc. Say it again.
Stress will take you out or decrease your
Decrease
level
the
of
level of
living a high quality lifestyle. And I say to my women, I have a mastermind and it's called Me No Pause. Okay.
Mm.
And I bring these women together and I ask them the question, if you were to walk down the street and you looked into a window and you saw your brand, would you buy it?
Mm.
What do I get? Silence.
Mm.
Okay, so what we're going to do this next 6 weeks, we're going to develop your brand that
Yeah.
you are so thankful, proud, confident, at ease, showing grace about
Yeah.
who you are.
Yeah.
Because you're going to turn this world upside down because you've already shown it by
Yeah.
what you did during COVID, that your brand is going to be unique to you. And
Yeah.
you're going to fulfill God's purpose for your life. Because he done told you what to do, most of y'all, when y'all were 16, and you're still sitting on it and complaining and what have you. Time.
All right. Amen, doctor. Amen. Amen. That is true. It's true. It's true.
And I will say this, if you're going to train people to act differently, if you want to use the menopause trump card, use it. Oh, I'm just so tired right now. You know, I don't have the energy, but I know you can do it. And just let me take some rest, and we'll get back to you later.
I know, but it's just so hard for us to set those boundaries. We
Practice,
practice,
practice.
right? Practice, ladies. It's good. It's good for us. It's
Why?
good.
Why do you have to let other people write your story?
Come
Why?
on. Come on.
Write your own story. I work with women. Okay, let's rewrite this story. I had to, and I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of times, women think we don't supposed to have coach. I've been in masterminds. I have mastermind sisters from all over the country, and the thing I learned: the women who are the wealthiest and accomplish the most, all have coaches. Now, I have a nutritional coach. one of my business coaches is in Australia. I have all these different coaches. When during the COVID, I was taking care of two people 24 hours a day, taking care of food, taking care of my niece said, "You need a therapist." I got a Christian therapist, and she worked with me in setting boundaries because I had not learned to do that. She said,
Yeah.
"You will take yourself out in the middle of this." But boundaries, we think that's a negative word. No, because we got to stop being God in their life. We got to give them the opportunity to let God work in their life and stop playing God, and we got to save them. God will be the one who do the saving if you allow him to.
Hashtag boundaries, please.
Please.
Hashtag it tonight. Boundaries.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Miss Robin.
Listen. The menopause whisperer is on fire tonight. Do you hear what I say?
Well, wait a minute. Let me tell you, ladies, something. I have had the most difficult time trying to log in, left work, but was able to listen, got home, and I'm like, I got to get on here. I got to get on here.
Well,
because
thank you for pressing your way, sis.
Yes, you're quite welcome. Listen, I came in on the right time. God's timing is perfect because you were talking about boundaries. Well, let me tell you something that God had placed in my heart earlier this year, just shortly after my father passed, and going through the whole grieving and the emotional trauma, the whole 9 yards, and trying to figure things out, navigate through this whole grieving process. And the word came to me. Now, for those who are listening, if you're going to quote it, you got to make sure you give Robin Shine Maddox the credit. God gave me the word boss, because you know how we boss lady, I'm the boss, the whole 9 yards, and it's an acronym. And boss for me stands for boundaries, order, structure, and systems. We got to have that in place in our lives, right? Because as you were talking about, like the stress, in our lives, and how the stress triggers, other things that happen to us physically, right? I have learned at 50 some odd years old, right? Closer to 60, and I'm here for it, right?
That's right.
I'm telling you, ladies, and that's going to be on our t-shirts, boss. We got to set boundaries. We got to establish order. We got to put structure and systems in place, not for other people, but for us. We have to do the work. So I'm here for it, and I just encourage those who are listening, watching. Come on, we gotta get it together.
We gotta do better. We have to do better for ourselves. We have to do better. And this is something that this is the beginning part for ourselves, is recognizing the things that we need to recognize about our bodies, embracing certain things and not dreading them, being able to walk in dignity and grace with some of the things that we have to move through. And when we embrace it, then the people that are coming behind us will be able to say, you know what, I'm going to be able to get this thing together. These are the things that I need to do. Here's are the things that I have to recognize, that things that I'm doing to myself, stressing myself, can cause different things to my body. Being tuned with my body, being tuned with what makes me feel good, what makes me angry, what makes my hormones go up and down, being in tune with food, being in tune with, my cycle, being in tune with all of that around me, because it concerns me,
And because we as women hold such powerful places in our society and in our family, how can you help people grow if you're broken? How can you say, well, listen, I'm going to help you do this, and really your mental, physical, spiritual bank account is on zero. Zero plus zero is zero. Okay, so you got to invest what God say. And I tell people, out of the parable talents, and people said, "Oh, I'm just going to keep it to myself." What did God tell the guy who said, "I had this one talent, I buried it in the ground because I know that you want to reap where, all this stuff." And what did Jesus and the master say? "You're lazy and you're wicked." He didn't say, "Oh, you did,
You're wicked.
and you're wicked." And the
Hey,
thing,
wicked.
and the thing that really got me is you could have made put that talent, that $5, and invest it in the bank. Now, come on. If he done given us all these gifts and stuff, and we're going to sit on it, you're lazy
You're
and
lazy. Hashtag you're lazy and you're wicked.
don't be sitting up here saying, "Oh, I'm just going to." No, that's not what God tells us to do. Well, see, I'm spirit. I'm saved, sanctified.
That's all you know.
Say what
They know the Lord.
okay.
I know the Lord.
For God's investment in you. I'm telling folks, stop it. And stop giving those excuses when he allowed you to wake up with a sound mind.
That's true.
Well, some of us mind ain't sound, but the articulation of our limbs and the blood running warm in our veins. Come on. Get it together.
Get it together.
You're lazy and wicked. He done cussed them out.
Lazy and you're wicked.
Oh.
I just want to say that this whole session is therapy.
Absolutely.
And it by itself. So I just want to say thank you.
You're most welcome, friend. You know I'm going to give it to you. So back to let's talk about food. I like to eat.
Confession is good for the soul. Amen. Amen.
Eat, and I know that there are certain foods, the ones that are actually dealing with the menopause and premenopause. What are certain foods that could trigger some of these symptoms?
It's that sugar.
That's the devil.
That's it.
That's the devil. And we love sugar.
But the thing is, what kind of sugar are you going to choose? You're going to choose white sugar. That white sugar is a killer.
That white sugar.
So if you're going to eat some sugar,
white sugar is a killer.
I'm telling you, inflammation all over your body.
That white stuff is a killer.
It's terrible. And they have equated that with the people trying to get a high. It's the same thing because when you metabolize that sugar, all of a sudden you go up.
You go up.
And then what happened?
You come down.
And then what's the next thing? Go back up, go and get some more. So you in this whole cycle. Listen,
it's like a drug. It's like a drug.
Like a drug. But as we're getting older, we're going to have to say no to white sugar. So what can you have in this place? My thing is maybe honey. My thing is learning how to begin to taste the food. Sugar almost deaden your ability to taste other things.
Oh, yeah. But it's in everything.
It's in everything. So why don't we make a lot of the things we eat?
Oh, now you talking something. Now you said we got to cook. We got to cook, ladies.
And the thing is, when we think of cooking, we think of it as a drudgery, right? Let's replace that word. Why can't we say as a moment of creativity? Now I had my nutritionist coach. She said, I got all of this spaghetti squash last week. I said, what am I gonna do with this mess? What is this? I said, okay, wait a minute. Change that word. This is God's creation. What am I going to do? So I went to a recipe. I went online, spaghetti squash. My sister went on YouTube. honey, by the time we finished with that squash, it made you
Smack somebody.
yes, it was that good. The other
Mm.
thing is we need to look at our green vegetables. So I got into this whole thing now. I get green vegetables, local vegetables shipped to my house every week. Do I know what those things are? I take pictures. What is this? So I said, okay, I don't know what it is, but we got YouTube.
Right.
And let's figure out how to cook it.
Right.
Then the other thing, beans. Substitute the beans because beans have fiber and they build you up. Now, I used to have beans, but girl, I can do something with being creativity. I love making things creative. So I don't look at it, oh, I got to cook.
Right, I got to cook.
No,
we're going to think creative. We're changing, we're getting those words. We're using different words.
Absolutely.
It's a mindset. It's a mindset.
It's a mindset.
It's a mindset.
Yeah. It's a mindset. And then I'll be honest with you, even for me, now because I was, brought up in the church. I was in the church all my life. Got saved at 17. I thought it was sinful for me to be trying to look cute and what have you. And my nieces told me after I had my cancer, we sick of you looking like an old lady. So we will take you to like Lord and Taylor's or whatever. And the lady was at the counter and I said, oh, you look good. I thought she was probably like 40. She said, no, darling, I'm 70. I said, stop me up. Tell me what to do. Tell me how to do it. And then my niece said, your hair is terrible. So she said, here's a picture, take it to the hairdresser, and this was done differently. So,
but you know what? I love it. We got to have people who are honest with us. We need that.
And that's why a lot of times they treat us the way they do.
You're right.
We even dress or carry ourselves like you can just do me any old kind of way. But now, I dress up, I color. Now talking to y'all because I thought I was gonna have the screen and all that, and I ain't got no makeup on. But I can put the makeup on, be looking cute because God is my king. I represent His household.
Yes.
I am not going to look like a bum when I'm a child of the king.
Come on. Hashtag no bums over here.
No bums.
Hashtag we are somebody.
That's right.
That's right. And we're going to look like somebody. We're going to feel like somebody. We're going to look like somebody. We're going to change it's our whole mindset. That we have to know that we are worth it. That's Absolutely. The whole thing. This is why we're having this conversation, because we are worth more. The way that we're handling ourselves, we can do better.
Right? And you know what? When you're talking about we can do more of taking care of ourselves, what just came to mind is it? Oh my gosh, interesting. The Word of God tells us, right? We have to love ourselves before we can, love our brothers and sisters, right? So, but we hear that, but really, this is what we're talking about. That's loving ourselves, right? Because how can we tell others, right?
We can't.
And just the look, because before we even open up our mouths, let's be honest, right? And I say this in quotes, we judge people before we even get a chance to have the opportunity to hear them speak, right? Because people do look at, well, we have eyes, so they're looking at us, right? Our presentation. You will have a fit. I don't care what restaurant, whether it's fast food or not, you will have a fit if the person behind the counter or the chef, right, and you're ordering, and then they bring you what you ordered, but it's just thrown all over the plate, it's messy, right? Presentation is what? Everything, right? And so we have to present ourselves, right, in a
Right.
manner, and this is not being bougie or thinking, high of ourselves. No, absolutely not, right? You cannot, you listen, I will walk out of a restaurant. I will talk to the manager and want to talk to the sous chef. If they came and serve my food on a broken plate, a plate that is cracked, and the food is all running all over, and I'm like, what is this, right? Yeah. Absolutely not. Take this back. Absolutely not. So the same thing, right? It's all about presentation.
Yeah.
But in order, for us to have that presentation, that requires us, as Nikki has said and what you guys have said, loving ourselves. I love myself. I love myself enough that I know I don't like beans, but I will, do whatever needs to be done to help change my the taste, like you said, to make it, tasteful and where I can eat it, right? And I'm not like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to eat beans again. Right. It's a mind shift. I remember, and I'll end with this. I remember I was an iced tea I'm going to say alcoholic. I love iced tea with lots of sugar and lemon. And you're right, that white sugar is not good for you. Over the years, I have acquired the taste now, right? Had to get used to it, but I can drink iced tea or turmeric tea or other kinds of teas, right? Without listen, I even made it over the hump of honey. I can drink it without honey now, right? Because my mindset, I'm saying, no, this is much healthier. Right. No sugar. So now my taste buds, right, has shifted, right? Yeah. And so it's a process. It takes time. You don't go down a blunder and wake up a wonder. It's a process.
It's a process. And not to cut you off, because we gotta close up real soon, because Robbie can go on for another hour, because I know my friend. But this whole thing about us being able to adapt and to change was to be open. Right. And to be in a position where we knew that there are certain things that we had to do for us because we cared enough for ourselves to do that. And that's the reason why we're doing this today. That's why, I'm actually doing this, because I care enough to say, hey, let's do something different for ourselves. When we recognize the things that we need to do for ourselves, then we'll be in a better position to help somebody else. And when we're in a position to help somebody else, then they will do the same. So it's like a reciprocity type thing. And then it goes and it goes and it goes, but it all starts with us. We got to recognize, and we have to be disciplined and consistent with doing the things that we need to do for ourselves to live this long life that we can have. And not only have a long life, but be productive and be in good health. Absolutely. Right? So and I would like to have you back, Menopause Whisperer. I think this deserves a part 2.
Well, I tell you, part of it's going to be Robin with her celebrating sisterhood.
Yeah, that's another thing. Before we go, tell us, Menopause Whisperer, what do you have going on? And Robin can give us a highlight of what she has coming up really soon, too.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. What I do have coming up soon, I'm going to be a speaker at MenoCon. There's a menopause conference right outside of Jacksonville, Florida. Wow. And with a God-centered approach to menopause. And I will be down there the 16th and the 17th. Also, I do menopause mastermind classes. I do group and individual class. We have a ball.
Yeah. So where can we reach you? Where can we reach you?
Let me make it easy. Menopause Whisper on Instagram. And just DM me.
Okay.
I'm on Instagram.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you. Now, Robin, what do you have? Because you have something exciting coming up real soon. I'm going to give you 1 minute. And
Here we go. I can do it on 1 minute.
Right.
We are hosting our 3rd annual She Shines Conference Saturday, November the 12th, here in Philadelphia at the New Covenant Baptist Church. We're so excited because September 1st, we're opening up registration. Yes. We're so excited about the speakers that we have lined up for the women. Our theme is It's About Time. And for those who are watching and listening, I'm so excited because Dr. Deborah, oh my gosh, Dr.
Deborah Roebuck.
That's it, Dr. Deborah Roebuck. I'm sorry about that. She is going to be one of our speakers. It's about time to change. And we just added our own Nicole Traylor. She's going to be doing the podcast live at our conference. So check us out on Facebook, social media. Just Google She Shines Conference Celebrating Sisterhood. We hope to see you there.
Yes. Thank you all for this. Has been such a great conversation. Thank you so much, Dr. Roebuck, for coming on, and she was just so gracious. Thank you, Robin, for coming on. Thank you, Stacy, for coming on. Stacy, do you have anything coming up?
I do have some things coming up, but it's more so centered around our children and our teachers. But I'll just this coming week we're celebrating. A lot of the ministries are celebrating. The back to school. Well, this year we've taken on a teachers edition version of that, and so we are celebrating our teachers this year. And if you are an educator, you are more than welcome to come out and be a part of our celebration this coming Sunday, Garden of Prayer Church, 64 Hanover Street, Pemberton, New Jersey, where we just want to let you all know that we appreciate and we are supporting you, just not in our words, but also in action.
Awesome. I have some amazing people in my life who are doing great and marvelous things, and I'm so excited for them. And I thank you for tuning in to It's Life and being a part of this conversation. I think we're going to have a part 2 because there are a lot of other, there were some questions that came through that we weren't able to get to. But I think we're going to do a part 2. So check It's Life out next month. We're only going to do it once a month now because your girl went back to school trying to get that doctorate. So y'all say a prayer for me.
Okay.
You can do it.
All right.
So thank you again for tuning into It's Life, where we live, we're inspired, we're going to have some fun, and we're going to empower you on this journey called life. Thank you again for this powerful conversation. Until next time, I'll see you all later.
See you.